Sreedhar Gade. He's the VP Engineering and Responsible AI at Freshworks, who's going to speak about pioneering code quality and time to market through GenAI. When he's walking onto the stage, let me also take a minute to introduce Sreedhar. An entrepreneur, speaker, and author, Sreedhar Gade is an industry leader with an impressive career spanning near 2 decades in leading technology, financial, and internet organizations, including Yahoo, wow, and Microsoft. Recognized industry leader, entrepreneur, speaker, and author, Sreedhar is known for his insights on GenAI, technology, and leadership blogs. The moment people heard GenAI, they started to clap. Now I know what is the key word here. Sri's journey in the tech industry has been marked by collaborations with visionary industry leaders worldwide, from which he has garnered invaluable insights into the anatomy of rapid career growth. He's a firm believer in the potential of individuals to achieve extraordinary success through access to the right information, a specific execution plan, and mentorship. With that, I hand it over to Sreedhar, and with your applause once again to Sreedhar.
Awesome. Good evening, Hyderabad. The energy is like a super low, like a 10%. How about a strong good evening?
Oh no, the energy is like really high. How's the energy, Hyderabad? Is it high? If it is high, can you all say hi? Come on, 3, 2, 1, everyone. Hope you like that.
Yeah, that's about 50%. I think by end of this session, probably we'll get it to 90%. Awesome. So first of all, it's an honor and it's always happy. I'm a local Hyderabadiite. I speak in multiple different cities across India, and then couple weeks later, I'll be in reInvent, AWS reInvent in Las Vegas, and then I'm talking about various other AI technologies. But it's always special to be speaking at Hyderabad. Everyone agree? Absolutely. So I work for Freshworks, and I lead cloud engineering and responsible AI at Freshworks. So pretty much all things AI. So this session over next, so I was asked to speak about 12 minutes. So I'll do my best, but during the 12 minutes, we are going to talk about this talk in 3 different sections. The first section is all about do a level set about AI. I know the generative AI has been around for about now a couple of years, though the ML and AI, the word has been coined for more than 60, 70 years, but the real stuff started coming out end of 2022. And but then it's not really sinking into many of us, and that's why I think it hasn't started delivering value for us individually, not just QE, but engineering, it could take any different fields. So we'll speak about that for a couple minutes, and then actually I jump into Freshworks, right? Our journey for last 6 years into, innovating in machine learning, the traditional machine learning and AI, and then we'll jump into the QE part of it, which is a favorite one, like how do we actually take the QE to the totally hit the ball out of the park using AI, right? Everyone ready? Awesome. So this is my favorite slide. So I keep talking to people. A lot of people come to me after the session and keep talking about, is this another blockchain movement? Is this another technology revolution that comes once in 10 years or 20 years or even a century? I always want to compare AI with something that is once in, probably this is only the first time after the entire human evolution happened. And the artificial intelligence is probably the next weekend evolution. It's not even technology revolution. The reason I say is that till today, any technology that came in did not challenge human intelligence, yes? And but then 2 years from now, you will hear something called AGI, right? Sam Altman, all the trillion-dollar companies that are racing towards something called artificial general intelligence, which basically means AI will start inventing Nobel Prize level inventions on a daily basis. And at some point, we'll not be able to comprehend what's going on. Right? So, and that's why it's very important at a stage 1 to make sure that we understand this, we embrace, we learn, and we ride the wave. And then there is also something called super alignment or responsible AI. We're talking about just now, we heard from the speaker, is also that how do we actually place this guardrail just to make sure AI is indeed used for something very constructive, but not destructive. Right? But anything can happen. So we are here. On one side, we are accelerating to actually make the AG happen, and other side, we all have to make sure that the guardrails are in place. So now that I have your attention, So this is about, I'm not sure how many of you actually kind of track, why did AGI take, or even the generative AI took such a long time? It was only a matter of time because of the compute power and its limitation so far. So like you could see here, there's a Moore's law. Every couple of years, computing should kind of double. And I think we have started seeing that since 1950s, and it's actually only accelerating. It's the NVIDIA and, and their DGX, data centers and the GPU power that we have, it started actually, breaking the algorithms for us, and then we are actually getting where we need to get to. But then you're talking about Elon Musk, setting up world's most powerful computer to actually start getting us probably the smartest model out there. We have Meta, Microsoft, Google, and also AWS, Bedrock, Anthropic. A lot of other companies are innovating in this space. So what I'm saying is basically is that AI is here to stay. Are we good? Yeah, AI is here to stay, and we all have to actually pull up our socks and start actually doing good stuff with AI, right? So now let me jump. So that's me, and so I'm an electronics engineer, but I also love AI and start playing with ML models. And ever since the generative AI happened, basically sleepless nights. You can actually follow me on LinkedIn, everywhere else. There are a lot of solutions in terms of building vector DBs to how do you actually accelerate AI. In your organizations. So happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. So let's talk about Freshworks, right? So before that, I'll just go to this slide. This is probably a good slide to talk about. Our journey started in 2020. I think in 2016. We started experimenting with the BERT models, the earlier GPT versions of it. So download the model, train it with the data that we had, and then Freshworks basically has two sets of products, so that you can relate. I think this kind of sets a level setting field for you, if depending upon which type of business you are into, what type of products you build. So one is an EX, employee experience, which is ITSM products, similar to what ServiceNow does. And on the other side, we have CX, which is a Freshdesk, which is similar to Zendesk and all the customer experience products. So in both cases, I think we have done enough of SaaS products, and we start building the ML models and start experimenting. So over time, you started talking about predictive analytics and using the data so AI is only as good as the data, quality of data, garbage in, garbage out. So start synthesizing the data and then start actually cleaning it up so that the models become smarter and smarter. And NLP started happening around I think 2019, kind of where you started actually interacting. We call it talk to your data. Right? So you don't have to type, you don't have to basically do any kind of analysis. You're talking to your data, and data does all of the AI does all the job, doing the RC on your data and coming up with insights. So, and then we are talking about root cause analytics, root cause analysis, and then today, we are in a world called agentic framework. So I can have a whole different session on this, but since we have very limited time, I'm not going to get into it. But last year was about generative AI, which is a chat interface, but this year and going forward, it's going to be agents, talking to agents, getting stuff done, and all you have to do is give them a purpose, and rest everything will be taken care, right? So that's the level set that we basically set. So going a little, so from Freshworks perspective, we are taking a kind of a different theme. One is a Freddy. Freddy is basically our AI brand, and all our AI features actually are aligned to the Freddy. So self-service is all about the flowless bots that we are building. So these are the bots that you actually see. You go to any bank website, insurance websites, or any, the bot pops up and starts talking. In the past, bots follow a flow chart. And then if you start somewhere in the middle, they get confused. You always have to start at the beginning and go there. This is basically a glorified version of IVR. But the flowless bots can actually be like a human beings. You go to Ola or Tesla's website and just say, hey, what is its range? It should understand you are talking about the range in miles or kilometers, depending upon your location, should tell you. So that's a flowless bots. We have a co-pilot. This is basically enhancing the value and the effectiveness of your agents. And then insights. Insights is, until today, all the analytics, data warehouse, data lake is about dumping a lot of data towards you. So as a CXO, I have to go through a lot of charts to make sense of what I need to do next. So insights is all about doing all the root cause analysis, and rather than showing 3-4 different charts, I just tell you what to do. Basically, if I have the performance and numbers of all my sales team, AI will actually go through that entire thing and basically tell you saying that in June, you have a dip in sales. because of XYZ reason. If you fix this, it'll actually be back. Right? No one has time to actually, no one loves charts, right? Charts are there for created because human beings, like there was no other better option. Now, yeah, so AI-assisted quality assurance, right? So, or quality engineering. So this is all about, we talk about, it's very hard to build, quality software, and the impact doesn't stop at having actually bugs in the software, but then it actually gets into the customer's hands. You're talking about your L1, L2, L3 tickets coming into, so the cost of customer service goes up, and then churn goes up, and then your CSAT, NSAT, all the satisfaction scores goes down, which means then your trust in the market, everything goes down, and there are direct and indirect loss, impacts. So, and that's why we are talking about, 3 different topics like that we have it, like we use at Freshworks. I'll also talk about how we implement it in one of our products. But I think that should kind of resonate with you to experiment with your own products in terms of what makes sense for you, right? The first one is the coverage of test cases. So who here, how many of you are in quality engineering? Right? Pretty much all of us, right? And for a product that is built, like say you have a deployment happening today, what part of use cases are covered in test cases? Like how many of you say more than 30%? Okay, so 50%? Okay, there's one hand only. Okay, and anything more than that? Perfect, right? So it's a pin drop silence, which means we are testing, deploying, and delivering software with quality. Should I change the mic? Or? Okay, perfect. Let me know when it becomes unbearable. So with the quality, where our quality basically are, good to go? Yeah. So less than 30-40%. Just imagine the plight of our customers and like what all things that can, and that's why there are jobs like customer service and everything else, right? So AI, it can actually improve that. And then we are talking about criticality of the cases, and we are talking about realistic scenarios with the data. So different use cases. So what we have done as a step one, sometime last year. So we had great quality engineering team. So we have close to about 8 different products we are talking about, and on a weekly basis, the features are going out. We have 75,000 customers in 120 countries, and selling our products in about 40 plus languages. As a matter of fact, Freshworks is the first software company or SaaS company to be born out of India and to go public in the US. And we're super proud of it. And with all that growth that we had in over last, obviously we went public a few years ago, and with all that growth that we have, so the QE team that we had is on the left side. You see, the amount of time we spend in generating. Since you are churning out a lot of features, the work on the test also goes up, and then there is a manual test creation, running it, and then we're also talking about how do you kind of automate. Automation becomes a project in itself, so. All the automation, like AI is automation on steroids. I think that's what we saw when we actually first started looking at using basic GPT 3.5. So using APIs, you could go for DaVinci. Later we switched to GPT 3.5 Turbo. Today we are using GPT 01 or GPT 4.0. Some of these large language models from OpenAI, and it does a great job. And on the right side, if you look at it, overall the amount of time it takes to generate, execute, and automate goes down by almost 90%. Okay, and it is done completely by the QE engineers themselves. And the thing is, does it mean that the importance of job going away? Absolutely not. It's actually you are able to cover more, go to from 30% to 40%. Today we can actually boast that we are more than 70 to 80% here today, right? Just purely because of AI. So we have a product called Fresh Release. Now Fresh Release is it's like a Jira, but it's part of our IDSM product, and where you can basically see that when a pull request is created and all the deployment stuff is going on, you'll be able to actually generate test case right there. And then if you want to make any, it all depends upon what is actually going. It basically analyzes the entire code, what's changing, right? And so if you look at it, if you're using Azure DevOps or any of the CI/CD pipelines, essentially you are looking at the code anyway, right? You are doing all kinds of testing and test cases anyway, and on top of it, since you know what is changing, you actually build based on the context, and then keep building the context as you build as you go. So this is kind of tightly integrated and it works very well. But in case if you don't use Freshservice, you don't need to worry. This is an example for you to actually get a little bit of inspiration, and you can actually either build it in-house or ask your vendor to actually do this, right? And this is the metadata that we give it to the and while the prompt is built, right? So here are the prompts basically to enhance your use cases, and that's why we tell people. A lot of people say that, hey, we tried, but it didn't work, right? So AI is all about fail fast, fail forward, try, reiterate, and it gets so better. It's like a child who's actually trying to learn a bicycle or a walk. And you have to trust the child, you have to actually believe in the child, and automatically, child will actually start actually inspiring you or even surprising you with the amount of things that they do. And that's one of the reasons why the folks who are building LLMs actually don't know the entire capabilities of the LLMs themselves. And we as users be able to discover some of those. So this is the current state today, where the overall coverage went up by, I think, multiple stages. We're also talking about productivity. Productivity because company is growing very fast, and also the time to market has to reduce a lot. So with all this, the workload goes by multiple times over. So QA is not becoming the bottleneck, and AI is helping with that. So, and about the accuracy. How do you test the accuracy? So you basically look at the customer feedback, right? Once the product is deployed, and you are actually connected, hand in hand with your customer service, and see what are the themes that are coming in, and incrementally how do you actually improve it, right? So that's about it. There are some don'ts. This is all about how do you actually be a little more safe. But we also built something called Freddy AI Guardian. Guardian is our responsible AI framework. It looks at safety for the LLMs, and safety for people, just to make there's no abuse, bias, racism, and all that stuff. So basically all the prompts are kind of scanned in the sub-millisecond latency and then blocked. Second is the privacy. Look at the personally identifiable data, then redacted, RBAC, role-based access control, and we have. Awesome. Is better? Yeah. And we have something called traceability. So traceability is something that everyone wants to look at. Like, where did you get this response from? So, by the way, LLMs are actually famous for hallucinating. If they don't know the answer, they make it up very well, right? So that doesn't work in a business scenario. And so how do you actually ground it? So it's called traceability. Last but not least, end-to-end encryption and security. So those are the 5 things. But yeah, so I think just to sum it up, team. So probably if you look at, there is a LinkedIn survey in terms of what is happening at workplaces to leverage AI. And quality engineering is the top 3 job roles which are leveraging AI the most across all industries. So a big hand to all of you. The energy is now at 60% level. Okay. So so with that, I'm kind of concluding. I hope it kind of set some context and got some inspiration in terms of what Freshworks did and what you could do. We could take a couple of questions. Yeah.
Yes, I believe we can. One question, all right. I see there's one gentleman here. To our volunteers who are managing the mics, just look at me, I'll signal it to you, and then you can pass it on the mic. But here you go.
Thank you. So my question is, you mentioned that there's a bot which generates the test cases in a couple of minutes and give it as an output. So my question is, who created that bot? Is it a QE engineer creates that bot, or it is a data scientist who creates the bot?
It's a QE engineer who creates the bot.
Great, thank you.
Oh, that was a short question and a short answer to that. I believe there is another person who has a question. The lady there. Yes, ma'am. Please go on.
Generated my own generative AI apps in my organization, and I'm leading the generative AI overall delivery in my QA related. I have created an app which can create end-to-end test lifecycle, like you can directly do from requirement analysis to test summary generation. But the only challenge what I'm seeing is, if you're looking into legacy systems, where we don't have the existing documentation, where we don't have any kind of information where we can feed to the generative AI, how exactly you overcome that kind of challenges? Because we cannot give the source codes to the generative AI, which is not safe to use. Even if you are using local LLMs, I have done with a LangChain in Python also, but even that didn't help me out because still again there is a challenge with the legacy code and legacy information. So how exactly you are overcoming that challenge in your organization?
Wow. So that's deep. So a model needs to know context of organization to give any value, right? So whether it's a code generation or even the test case generation as well. So in your case, absolutely it's not giving the quality because it doesn't understand the context and you're saying there's no documentation. So in our case, what we did use discriminative language models, which are actually in-house. We could even take an SLM like a Llama 3 billion and actually download it and introduce your code base to it. And then we put these guardrails. So basically it went through the code base and then you understand the context. And based on that, initially it was like 30%, 40% quality and then slowly it goes up and up. When you don't have a context, it gives you a lot of generic responses and it's not really motivating. And then you go back to the manual way of doing it. So if you're really super excited about using AI and then there's no documentation, then I would recommend they bring it in-house, right? Put some guardrails, with the help of your engineering team, and then start introducing the code to it.
Thank you so much. In the interest of time, we will have to move, but then yes, a big round of applause with your 100% energy.